What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of Under a Thousand Podcast. I'm your host, Gershon. This is GP Snake's YouTube channel, and I just hit the table, so you know it's live. Um, so if it's your first time checking out the podcast, this is a podcast where I bring on other reptile YouTube enthusiasts, hobbyists, and breeders. Quick note, I am going to be adjusting this for season three. I'm going to encompass all animal YouTubers. So if you are any kind of animal YouTuber, hit me up. Let me know if you would be interested in coming on, and I'll put you on the list, and we'll get you all scheduled. I want to, help the podcast grow for next season. So season three, we're doing a couple different changes. One of the rules, you don't necessarily have to have a YouTube channel. I'm going to start bringing on people within the industry, either reptile or animal industry, that just don't have the time to do a YouTube channel, but have a wealth of knowledge to share with us, and people that I want to meet. So we're going to be doing that in season three as well. First time announcing it, so there you go. You guys got the exclusive if you're watching right now. But yeah, this is a podcast for that. I also use it to be able to talk to people within the community and make new friends, network, because I am an introvert. I know it doesn't seem that way, but I am. And it's a great way for me to meet more people within the community and make more friends within the community. And you guys have been awesome in the comments. My guests have been awesome. I made so many new friends. So one of the things I love about doing this podcast is meeting so many new people and making so many new friendships and networking with people. I've met a couple of really nice people that I have kept in contact with, and you guys have met each other in the comments and like become friends as well. So we all win. So I love that. But before we bring on our guests, guys, you know what we guys do. What's up, LKB Python? Thanks for coming through. Celtic Reptiles, thanks for coming through. Before we bring on our guests, you know what we have to do. We have to say thank you to our sponsor for this episode. So without further ado, here's this episode's sponsor.
This episode is sponsored by Herp Collectors. They're a family-run business specializing in investment quality morphs to help other breeders achieve their project dreams and beyond. They are working with a couple different morphs specifically. Their baseline is Clown, Desert Ghost, and Hypo. And they're dabbing a little bit in the Ultra Male and Pieds as well. So definitely check them out for ball python needs. They are slowly coming up in the industry, and they're going to be producing some amazing animals very soon. But that's not all. They also have a YouTube channel. Of course, you know we're all about YouTube over here. They do a live podcast on their YouTube channel every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called Clutch Conversations. It's a great podcast. I was actually on it, and Mike does an amazing job interviewing guests. He also brings guests from all over the industry and talks to them. It's a definite watch if you're free on Thursdays. And if you're not, you can still listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcast apps. Their mission is also to share the excitement of working with these reptiles, as well as bringing people together to promote and preserve our hobby. So what are you waiting for? Go follow and subscribe to their YouTube, their Instagram, their Facebook, and their TikTok. Thanks for sponsoring this episode, Herp Collectors.
Thanks again, Herp Collectors, for sponsoring. Go check out Mike. He had an interview yesterday with Justin from Armless Angels. I met Justin at Tinley. Great dude. Very cool dude. He is probably going to be a guest in season three. He is one of the people I want to get on and talk to. Got a wealth of knowledge. He's not been doing ball python super long, but he's gained a lot of knowledge in the time he has. And I want to pick his brain about a couple things too. But definitely go check out Herp Collectors podcast that was on yesterday with him. But definitely check Herp Collectors anyway. All his description are in, all his stuff is in the description down below. Yep, it's live. I mess up. So check that out. LKB, I am super excited with that clutch. Very cool to hatch out all pies. So now I really want to work with more pie stuff. So I'm going to get more pie in my collection. But yeah, very excited about that clutch. If you didn't know, video yesterday I showed off the clutch Clutch 11, all out the egg, all shed, looking pretty. So definitely go check that out later. But right now, we're going to get into our guests and bring our guests on and get to know more about them. So without further ado, let's say hello to our guest.
Just do your thing. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Can you hear me?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, computer's slow. It played twice on my end. So it was sorry for that, guys. It's live technology. It happens. So welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Pretty well, brother. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, let them know the animals you keep, a couple of the animals you keep, and I don't know if you breed right now, but you can talk. We can talk about that as we go on. But let them know about some of the animals you keep as of right now.
Absolutely. My name is Jorge Flores from Tucson, Arizona. People know me as the real George of the Jungle. Our personal breeding company is Ultimate Zen Reptiles. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. We are currently working with Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, boa constrictors, Asian water monitors, Argentine tegus, and a bit more of the cyclora as well.
Oh wow! I didn't know you were working on all that. Oh wow, that is a lot. Oh wow, that
Those are
is.
just pairings or trios that don't have quantitative amounts of, one specific species, but we are working with trios of those species in particular.
Okay, okay, that's smart. That's smart. Don't get too overloaded, but still work with a lot of different species. I like that. That's a smart way to do it. So we brought you on to get to know a little more about you. I brought you on because I love your I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong. The Avatar series you had. Um, like that's how I found you, and I was like, this is a cool idea. This is super cool. And I was gonna try to steal it, but I was like, nope. I'm just gonna enjoy watching him do this and just watch the ride. But it was really a cool idea. I just wanted to say that 100%.
Appreciate it, brother. I think we left off at episode 62 or 61.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little behind. I've been behind on a lot of my YouTube viewing of other people's channel. I've been when you something I didn't realize would happen as you become more of a content creator. You don't have as much time to watch content. You're trying to produce it so much you don't have as much time to watch it.
Even when you're trying to pick and maneuver certain things, you're like finding yourself out. Oh, let's go back to that ball python breeder that I saw.
Yep, 100%. Um, so if you guys haven't already, his link to his channel, his YouTube channel is in the description down below. His Instagram is on down below. Are you on TikTok?
I am not. Well, actually, the name is reserved. So if you guys like to follow the real George of the Jungle, no content whatsoever.
Definitely. Hey, that's what they say. The name is a game is to get there first. Make sure you get your name on whatever new piece of platform is coming out because there's always new social medias coming out. So make sure you get your name first. You can put content later, but get your name first. So he is on TikTok, no content, but you can go follow it if you want to. So we brought you on to get to know a little more about you. So without further, we're just gonna jump into some questions. Some that I am interested in hearing, some that other people might be interested in hearing, and I realized I might have not put up the right questions. I have to look, because I usually I this is what happens when you get busy. I have to double check the questions I sent you. Okay, these are not those. Nope. See, this is live, people. This is how it works. Okay, yeah, these are the right questions. Okay, so first question: how long have you had your YouTube channel?
I believe since 2019. We've had the channel since 2012, but initially the first video drop was 19.
Exactly, just like everybody else, you had a channel watching other stuff. It's like, oh wait, I can post stuff. Oh wow, yeah. I mean, it is weird how long I've had my channel to where I actually start posting on my channel. Like for the longest, at least in my opinion, I didn't think YouTube was something I would do. I just thought it was something I would consume. and then I started doing videos, and it became a whole different platform to me, which is just crazy. I don't know if that's how it happened for you. If you, when you started posting, you looked at YouTube differently.
Yeah, it was more of like something that I took my space in, like, my recreational time, where I'm just chilling, watching some conspiracy theories or whatever. But
Yeah,
out of nowhere, I'm posting this content, posting reels every other week. So it's
yeah, that's how it is. And I've been there when I've gone down a rabbit hole for like 3 hours watching stuff on YouTube. Oh, you find the weirdest things. Um, what's up, Adam? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Glenn, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Taylor, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Uh, so you weren't a necessarily a pandemic YouTube starter. You had it a little bit before then. You started actually a little bit before then. Did the pandemic kind of get you to go, you know what? Maybe I'll lean more into it and start making more content, since I, like almost everybody else in the world, had this unwanted free time necessarily, being stuck indoors a lot more than we would like to be. Did that get you to start making more content then?
Um, it was really more of like my first reptile show experience. I had a lot of people here in town show me things, and with the animal keeping, I never really kept until 2018, until I actually moved out with my wife and we established our family. When we had our first animals or whatnot here in our space, I think it was like 2000, about to be 2020, right before the pandemic started, or before, or I think it was 2018. But I worked for a company under Human Insurance. I was working at an actual site with claims and Medicare. When about 2 months prior to the pandemic, they said, we're sending everybody home. This was prior to
Mm,
any news outlets or anything coming out.
mm,
So, that's when it all began. My first video, I think I want to say, was like 3 months before the actual event of me moving home and working from home. I think we went out to San Diego and had a family trip, and we went out to one of the reptile shows out there.
okay, okay, interesting. Um, Oh, so how I want to go, I want to make a trip to LA to go to one of you guys' reptile conventions. How are they? Um, like, is it more of a mix of a lot of different reptiles and animals, or is it mostly just reptiles? How is it structured?
The Super Show, it's a mixture of all, like snakes and lizards. It wasn't
Okay.
as impressive as a lot of people say Tinley or NARBCR, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like a miniature version of what an actual reptile show is.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I'm originally from LA, so when I was in LA, I wasn't. I've never been to a show in LA when I lived there. I had reptiles, but I never like was big into reptiles. I just had them. I didn't realize there was a whole convention thing and shows. I didn't even realize that until I moved from LA. So I do want to experience one of their shows. Um, but it is hard to top Tinley. It's just Tinley
It'd be
is
nice
the
if some of
show.
those shows, yeah, absolutely. It would be nice if they could top it. Hopefully within the next couple of years, it does progress to that point.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so let's hit another question, which I am interested in. What is your two favorite reptiles in your collection?
I'd say Cyclura, rhino iguanas, and Cyclura cornuta, and Burmese pythons. That
Okay,
surprised a lot of contradictions in the hobby, but I love Burmese, man.
I'm just saying, I like the iguana. I was watching a couple videos with your iguana, and I that was kind of my technically second reptile I actually got was an iguana, And it was kind of a rescue from a lady that would just blow weed into its face all the time. So it hated men, and I was the only man that it would let handle it. So she eventually was like, "Well, how about you take her? Because I think I'm gonna move away from having reptiles." And I had her for another 5 years, and like we were thick as thieves. She would just hang out with me until that one day where I think she started to develop cancer in her bones, which I didn't know that iguanas could get cancer. So that was just a whole new experience for me. We hit the vet, learned stuff about it. The vet was like, "Yeah, she's got cancer in it. You can do a whole bunch of stuff, but realistically, you're just gonna prolong her living. I would say put her down to make it, easier on her." So I did have to do that, which sucked, but I enjoyed the time I had with her, and like that kind of invigorated the joy of reptiles that I still have to this day. So your iguana definitely brings back memories when I watch it and stuff. So what is it about the iguana or the rhino iguana that you like so much?
As a child, I remember going to this exhibit. It was called Chapultepec. It was during the 2000 era, 1999 to 2000. We went to this exhibit in Chapultepec City, or the Castle of Chapultepec in the Federal District of Mexico. And I was about 6, 7 years old, but I clearly remember seeing this iguana sitting on display. And it was not only that iguana, but those vipers, the other snakes that were around that actual animal. But it was just the rhino that was sitting in the middle of the entire, sanctuary, what they had set up. But that was essentially what captivated my eye. Since I was
Okay,
small, I was always attracted to the reptile look.
okay, okay. So how is it? I have a big snake. She's only about 8 9 feet. Red tail boa, a lot more calm. I would say a lot more calm than the Burmese. How is it handling a Burmese on a regular basis, trying to um, get that trust in them, like you have them be able to trust you? Because I know they're very not necessarily don't like humans, but they like their space. So you definitely have to take your time and work with them to let them be able to trust you and be able to be handled. How was that process for you
With the rhino iguana or the Burmese?
with the Burmese? The rhino
For about
iguana are the rhino iguanas very aggressive? Or are they more docile? I know regular iguanas are pretty docile unless you really mess with them. I don't know about rhino iguanas too much.
I'd say Cyclora are very more calm. A regular green iguana or a crimson iguana would be.
Okay. Oh, we lost him for a little bit. We'll see. He should be able to get back on technology, guys. It happens. Pistol and pipe. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay. Uh, so try to jump out and jump back in because it won't. It doesn't have your picture up there, your video. So try to jump out and jump back in. So while we wait to see if he could pop back in, Pistol and Pythons, what's up? Thanks for coming through, lurking in the chat. I didn't even read that at first. Thanks for coming through. Celtic Boss, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Celtic Boss, I'm gonna send you two people um to possibly be on your podcast at a later date. Two people one I've interviewed, well, both of them I've talked to. I'm gonna send you their information and
Can you
you
hear
guys
me?
talking. I can hear you. I can hear you, but I can't see you. The video is not popping up.
Exit out and then come back in.
Yeah, try to exit out and come back in and see if it pops up.
All right.
All right. Rock, what's up? Thanks for coming through. So, guys, as of everything in life, technical difficulties, things happen. Gotta roll with the punches. So, we're gonna give a second and see if he can get back on. But while we're waiting, guys, let me know how your day's going in the chat. Let me know how your collection's going, how Have you picked up something new? You got a new video you got coming up? Throw it in the chat. Definitely throw your links in the chat. If you're not in blue, let me know. I'll make sure you're blue so you can contact each other and you guys can follow each other on your YouTubes and all that good stuff. I'm trying to get connected to everybody. So yeah, we're back. So yeah, with the you said they're more docile than green. The green
Iguanas?
yeah, green iguanas. I couldn't think of the name iguana. So you said they're more docile than the green iguanas?
According to my experience, and a lot of people do say the same thing, green iguanas are a little bit more vicious or they're tenacious. If you
Okay,
don't put the work into it, I'm not
true.
segregating that specific species or that morph, but it comes to play that they're a little bit more tenacious.
Okay, okay.
The rhino iguana I actually got from JTK Reptiles, Brian Reptiles, out here
Oh,
in
okay.
California as well. But I had got them, I think, 3, 4 months old. So it
Mm,
wasn't that much of difference of me
ex-
raising them from hatchling to
exactly,
adult.
exactly. So so how is the handling the Burmese? How long have you had it? Do you have him or her? I'm not sure which if it's a male or female. Did you have them as a baby or did you get them as an adult? How did that happen, and how did handling them and building that trust with them go?
Burmese are very particular. That's why I love the species because, like a boa, you'll have 10 that are beautiful. They're feeding great. They're all the same character. But a Burmese, I feel it's like a hit or miss. You're gonna either get that one that's spicy or that one that's
Yeah.
just placid. But it honestly took me about 2 to 3 weeks on the ones that I thought that were very interactive to calm
Mhm.
them down, to bring them down to that level. It honestly is how much work you put into that animal, and the more work you put into it, the less effort you have every day, and you
Okay.
build that bond.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I tell people you definitely have to take the time to know your animals. Um, People don't believe it, but they have their own personalities. And once you learn them, you learn when you need to mess with them, when you need to leave them alone, when they want to get some attention, when they don't want you to bother with them. It takes time to learn that, and you have to spend that time. And it also creates a bond between you and that animal. Um, it's weird to say, but I know they have their own. How should I say this? Idea of love, their own way of affection, and they do show it to you at times. Um, some people say it's just kind of an animal instinct thing, but I think it's a little deeper sometimes because we've seen even in reptiles, but mostly in dogs and cats, where like their owner would die, and you can see that they miss them. You can see that they miss that person, and they cared about that person enough. So I hate when people are like, "Oh, it's just an animal." It's more than an animal at times. You have to really take that time and realize that. Um, that's why I love breeding, but I do hate making animals, and then selling them and never seeing how they grow, never see how they evolve and how they're doing, and seeing how they're. I try to keep in contact with you, but there's so many people to keep in contact, so it's so hard. So that my friend Nicole, she's gonna have a bigger issue when she makes babies and has to sell them, to let go of that, because it's gonna be hard for her to make those babies and let go. And I know that pain. It's hard, especially when you name an animal. Oh, you get really emotional attached to it. You 100% do. Oh wow, yeah, that's so. How has that been for you? Because you have you sold some animals yet?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, actually, I do a lot of. Before I actually got into the whole illustrated selling side on the market, or if I'm on Fauna or snakepit.com, anything that I did out selling out of state didn't start until 2020, 2019. But I was
Okay.
constantly what people call in the hobby flipping animals. You know, I was buying
Oh,
them on Craigslist, rehabilitating them, and then finding a good home for them. Now,
okay.
I wasn't calling myself a rescue. I don't have nothing against rescues, but there's just way too many, you know.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to affect my collection, you know, risking it because I brought one animal in, it's really not worth it to me in that
Hmm.
aspect. Now that I'm building my collection, you know.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, that's another thing you have to be careful of that. Like we reptiles do have deadly diseases at times that can infect your whole collection when you bring one animal in. So quarantine is very important. Now that we have a lot more tests for stuff, that we could test these animals before they get into our full collection, that's important to do as well. Um, these are things that 10, 15 years ago we didn't have, and we were kind of wild westing it. Just hey, I got these animals. We'll make sure see who survives. But now we have more technology, better research, and better tools for us to make sure we can help these animals thrive and what's the word? Enrich their lives while they're with us. So it's you owe it to them to do that. I say.
Brings you back to that same cycle where you're saying if that animal does have that simplicity of affection, or if it's some type of perspective that they have, in reality, you're taking the animal out of the jungle, right? So they feel comfortable. They're feeling some type of stimuli being in that area or ambient. Now, if that is not a connection between something they love, if you're taking that away from them in captivity, then essentially you are taking their love or their passion of being in nature, you know, if you're not giving an animal something to thrive on.
Very true. Very
Yeah.
true. Yeah. You got to make that balance. Make that balance. Make sure they're happy, but make sure you can take care of them. Because some people get overwhelmed and they start out with two, get 30, and be like, "Whoa, I got too big too fast." It happens every day. I mean, we have the usually the most positive outlook of it, but sometimes you get overwhelmed. Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew, and you shouldn't. The animals shouldn't have to sacrifice for that. Like they shouldn't be hurt because of that. So just be wary. Be pay attention to what you're doing, people. Um, yeah, I don't know why we're talking about that, but it was on my heart, so I felt I need to share it out there. Um, but let's go ahead and get into another question because this is supposed to be a more fun, lighthearted podcast where we're talking about positive things. um, so, what camera do you use to film your YouTube videos?
We use an alternation from the Apple camera to the Canon 90Ds. We use a lot of the EOS, 3 EOS, EOS 3s. But the Canon 90D is our primary camera for Instagram stills or if I'm doing any videography.
Okay, okay. Guys, I am been not paying attention to the chat, so I apologize for that. PCF, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Bosa, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Definitely hit that like button if you can, guys. YouTube likes it when you guys hit the like button. I like that YouTube likes it, so if you could, appreciate it. You hit that like button. Marcus, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Bosa. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I said her name and totally forgot about that. So Nicole is doing the 3 day cancer walk. So go check out her channel. Um, Bosa put the link down there. The link, click that link right there. If you can give what you can. If not, at least share it to help spread the word about it. 100% is appreciated. It's a great cause. Nicole is a great lady, and she's doing some positive stuff in the industry. So definitely go help if you can, either by donating, sharing, or spreading the word. Either one helps, definitely. What's up, Joe? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Tammy, what's up? Thanks for coming through. You guys are killing it in the chat. You guys are talking. You guys are doing it. All right. So how do you like switching from back and forth? Is there I mean, I get the iPhone because you're taking more pictures, and Instagram easier to use it with that. How do you like using the camera versus the cell phone?
It depends on the editing software. If I'm using Premiere Pro, it's more convenient because I'm just filing everything from my phone to the iPad. But if I'm doing editing on the computer, then it's more easier to just have film from one, either opposite, the Canon D or the Apple phone.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, so how far in starting your YouTube did you go? I need to get an actual camera and not use my cell phone, or was it vice versa, where you using an actual camera and then started using your cell phone a little more?
My photography actually started, I want to say somewhere in high school. I love the old Nixon cameras. I've always
Okay,
had some type of DSLR or some type of camera. I'm always a fan of photography. That's pretty much my first hobby that I've ever established. I was love, street photography or boudoir photography, semi-nude photography. That was my niche. I love the way it looked.
okay,
Um, but from there, when I did my first recordings, I started on the E3, I think, it was a Canon product, a baseline product that came out, and it was nice film. Within a week, I returned that camera and I just bought myself a nice B-roll camera, and then I went from digital to something it was a hybrid, the Canon
yeah,
90D.
yeah, okay. So that makes sense because like some of the shots in your videos, you can see it's the way you set them up. It looks amazing. Not gonna lie, it looks amazing.
Appreciate that, man.
Like I know I don't have that eye for stuff like that in that realm, and you clearly have that eye when you're doing stuff. Like, so how deeply do you think about your shots when you're doing them? Do you like really plan them out, or you just is it just a moment and feeling of that moment? You like, oh, I feel this shot looks best for me. How do you go about that?
With camera and film, like you say, it's the eye, what perception you have or what perspective you're going to show, what you're trying to make that audience feel. And I think that in my key tone, I'm very liberal and very opposed to my own thoughts. So if I feel something or hear something in my head, I'm always questioning it. Am I for sure that I want that, or should I try
Mm,
this angle? So I'm very technical when it comes to my camera. If I do something that I'm open and I'm trying to go out and I take the camera to a tree, then it's because that I know that there's an inflictive conflict between my film and the atmosphere that I'm trying to portray.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I put none of that thought into it. I'm like, is it in focus? All right, let's go. So it is nice to hear that, like that, just with the slight explanation of that shot you just talked about. It was like, wow, there was a lot of thought process in that, from the angle you were at to knowing how the film would be affected. Like, that's amazing to me. I would like to start to learn a little more and be more precise with my shots at times and the way I set stuff up. I'm still learning lights. It makes stuff look pretty. So that's, I didn't know there was so much about lights you can learn. I'm
We're all there. We're all coming in with our camera, flash on, bright.
There's so much. I've been doing semi deep dives on YouTube on the best way to light your room when you're filming your stuff, the best way to light your room when you're filming animals, movement and stuff like. And I'm like, oh, I am a little bit out of my depth, but I'm trying to learn what I can and use what I can to not only better shoot my animals, but hopefully give a better story on my YouTube channel, on my videos, that might touch people in a different way. Because as much people don't realize it, we're telling stories. Whatever we do, we're telling a story, and stories kind of connect people. People hang on to stories and retell them and always put their twist on it, but it always starts with a story. Um, So I really would like to be better storyteller through my channel. So I might be picking your brain a little more often if you.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, brother. I was horrible at storytelling. I used to sell cars. I worked at Watson
Okay.
Chevrolet. I'm a sales guy, but I was the worst salesperson ever. But I had this manager called Sergio Jimenez, and he came up to me one day and he says, "You know, a person with a mental issue can sell. The only problem is that you need to pick up that phone and dial in, and that's it." So if once I started dialing in, my referrals started flooding, you know. And then
Okay.
when I tried to sell, I couldn't sell. Well, now I have to learn how to sell. So it was all step by step by step by step.
Yep.
Nobody learns from day to one, you know.
Very true. Very, very true. And another thing I've learned is don't be afraid to fail. You can learn from your failures. So that's one thing it's taken a long time for me to get over. Like I can't do that because I might fail at it, so I'm just not gonna try. It's taken me a long time to get over that, which is a human issue, and to just go try something even if I fail. It's a learning experience with where we either way it goes, and it'll help me grow. So definitely, definitely. Um, I got a message on my phone. So the phones can be better than cameras. This is true. They're getting like 4Ks on phone now, or 8K almost sometimes now. So I try to stress people you don't necessarily have to go buy an expensive camera to start your channel. Like
Absolutely.
just whatever you have, start with that and gradually upgrade your equipment as you get into the channel. Um, because people use that as a excuse not to do the channel sometimes. Um, and I'm like, don't let something stop you from doing it. Just go do it. Definitely. So before we go into the next question, it is time for tip of the week, guys. If you didn't know what tip of the week is, I'm here to tell you. Tip of the week is when I put a post on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and under that post, all you have to do is put a tip, whether for life, YouTube, or reptiles, or animals. Whatever tip you want to put down. And whichever tip gets the most likes, I will put on my next podcast and give that person a shout out just for saying thanks for putting the tip down, interacting with the Instagram. So without further ado, guys, let's check out this week's tip. I have to push some buttons. This is how you know this is live. So here's this week's tip of the week.
This week tips comes from Eve's Exotic Pets. My tip is do your own research and from your own ideas of what is best for your care of your animals. Don't blindly follow the crowd. 100%. There are many ways to do stuff. Find the way that works for you and your animals and do that. No matter what other people say, if your animals are healthy, eating, thriving, then you're doing what's best for your animals. That is a great tip. Thanks, Eve Exotic Pets. Go check them out on Instagram and YouTube. You can also check out the episode we did with them on Under 1,000 Pod. But that's this week's tip of the week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Eve. Great tip. Yes, do what works for your animals. A lot of people are going to tell you, you got to do it this way, or you got to do it this way. This is the only way for you to do it. There are many ways to take care of the animals we care about. The most important thing is to make sure whatever you're doing for your animal is helping your animal, that they are okay with it. That's the most important thing. If they're not okay with it, then you might need to adjust the way you're taking care of them to make sure they're thriving. But do what's best for your animal and not what all these other people say most of the time. There's nothing wrong with taking advice, but take it with a grain of salt. Do what's best for your animal. Now, how do you feel about the tip? I think that's a good tip. I honestly do.
Absolutely.
So, guys, let's get back into some of these questions. And, guys, if you have any questions, definitely put them in the chat. We will definitely get to them. So, do you breed or buy your snake food, or your lizard's food? Like, do you grow that? I meant to say put grow in there because I have some people that grow grow their vegetables for their iguanas and their lizards. So they know exactly what they're eating because they know I'm not using these kind of chemicals, so I know my animal's not getting these chemicals. So how do you go about that?
So for the lizards, we do have a community church, or sometimes they move it from a church to like another display garage, but they do it on a
Hmm.
different Sunday, and it's 10 pounds for I think like $10, or you buy a whole bulk of different lettuce that is grown there at that local spot in
Okay.
a greenhouse. So I guess it's all under pesticides, and they have everything down to a notch. So I trust them. It's good quality vegetables. And for anything that's meat, I go to Dave's shop. There's a local butcher shop here in town. Also, for rodents, I do have a local breeder under the name of Daniel Martindale and Sherry Martindale. Great people. They were the ones who actually started me with boas, but they're
Okay.
boa breeders in the industry as well.
Okay. So you buy locally. That's great. Helping out a local farm, local growing. Um, I forget lizards have like not like a very unique diet where they do eat meat, and so this is not one of the questions at all. But now I'm fascinated. So what does your lizard's diet consist of?
Every lizard, the Asian water monitors, just meat and calcium, proteins, and different types of spreads. I do gelatin spreads for the Asian water monitors, the Rapashi brand. For the rhino iguanas, 80% will be veggies and an occasional pinky once or twice a month. I
Okay.
always sprinkle with calcium, Rapashi, Herbaveg or the Super Veg. There's also other spreads you can use, like the gelatinous spreads. You place them in the fridge and you put the crumble on top of the salad, depending on what you give them.
Okay. Yeah, that is. I'm not gonna lie. I want a monitor, but I don't know if I can dedicate the right amount of time that a monitor would need. I know there are a lot more of a everyday hands-on animal to keep, and I want to be respectful of that, realizing like my time might not be as of abundance to be able to give them the right kind of home and be as attentive to them as I need to be. Even though I think they're really cool, and I would really enjoy one. I realize the care they would need, and I don't think I will be able to do that top notch care for them. Um, and they do need, depending on what kind of monitor you get, they do need a lot of space. Um, Definitely got to be able to dedicate that kind of space to a monitor, especially if it gets that big. And of course, we all know we like the big animals. They just more exciting. Let's be honest.
It's a dinosaur.
Exactly, exactly. Um, so I usually just live vicariously through other people, watching their channels, watching their monitors. Because I realize that might not be the best pet for me right now. Um, we never know. I might get a little more financial freedom to where I get more time on my hands, and that could be an animal I will get in the future. Um,
Absolutely.
but it's me being a responsible keeper and understanding the care that animal would need, and knowing that I might not be able to do that right now, so I shouldn't get that animal. Um, but Rob, thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Um, Okay, that's interesting. So do they eat insects? Any of your lizards eat insects?
My tegus, the Asians, when they're small, between all the way to a year old, I try to give them a variety of locusts, or if I'm giving
Okay.
them this dubias, sprinkled with calcium. The Argentine tegus, I do try to do the dried locusts. They sell little packs that are with like 3, 4 locusts. Sprinkle those on the salad or whatever I'm doing, either if
Hmm.
it's a mashup or a ground type of texture. Then I incorporate a little bit of insects.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
We actually just brought the tegus in. They're down. Uh, the females went down yesterday, and then the male just went down today. So they're
Okay.
brewmating as we speak.
See, that was something I learned maybe 4 or 5 months ago, is that they brumate. Like I didn't know. That's what happens when you kind of stay in one species. There's certain things you don't know. So I learned about brumation, and the number of animals that do that is crazy. So I've kind of learned a little bit about it. But what is your whole setup when you put them down for brumation? How do you do that?
Keeping a constant look in them just to make sure that their health is totally fine. Their temperature is between the gradient of 72 Fahrenheit to 78 Fahrenheit max. I try to do water changes every 3 days so that way they still have a little bit of water if they do decide to get up or move or jiggle around. They're set up in quart tubs, 64s, I believe, or 72s. But we have them set up in those with hay and bottom bedding, Repta Cocoa, Repta Chip. We use that bottom bedding and then the top layer of hay. They usually nest, the females, they start to build a circular type of a nesting, and then the males just lay anywhere.
Okay. Oh, well, that is that is just super interesting. Like just super interesting. But also kind of terrifying when your animal just lays in maybe one or two spots for like months on end and doesn't really move. That's gotta be like so. How long have you been having animals that brumate? How long have you been doing that?
Since 2018, 19.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So like that first year when you had to go through the brumation experience, how did that feel? Were you actually? Because like I would think I would always be worried they're not gonna wake up. They're not
I
gonna
was
wake
tripping.
up.
I'm gonna be honest, I was tripping.
Okay, because I'm like you guys when you guys talk about it, you guys seem so calm, and no one's like, "Yep, I'm always terrified." No one's like, "Yep, I'm watching them." It's good to know that like how I'm feeling is how you guys definitely felt when it's happening. Okay, because
You open that lid and you see that little eye rolling back, and it's like, "Are you okay?" You're in that
okay,
sense of, you feel that emotion. But
definitely
no,
okay.
after that second season, third year, I've never actually bred any tegus, but now that I'm actually going to do it, I took them through the entire Burmatian state since they were young. Two of them
Okay.
come from TRP from tropical Florida, from Nancy and Carlos, and
Okay.
then another one comes from what's the other guy's name? He's gonna hate me for this. Go for my pet, I want to say. No, it
Okay.
wasn't Go for my pet. I'm not sure if it was from Ever Evolving Exotics, the one male that I kept from Lee here in town, or if it was from GP. I want to say if it was Go for my pets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If he's wrong, don't be upset. He'll put it in the chat later, maybe sometime. We all forget. He's appreciative though. We
Yeah.
sometimes your mind slips. It's understandable. Okay. Um. Yeah. That is just it. It fascinates me that it can just go to sleep and just be there and then wake up. It's animals are amazing. The things they can do, the I call them abilities at times, but just their natural abilities to do things like that, crazy, crazy.
You think, the evolutionary process, if we actually
Yep,
came from that state, we could have those abilities, or we had those abilities in the past, and we came from that, just to think that.
yeah, that's true. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That is true. Wow. Okay. Yep. You made something new in my mind, so that's going to be there. Going to be looking at on YouTube as well. James, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. It's really weird.
Weird.
It's so weird. I'm gonna go through a YouTube rabbit hole tonight, watching just lizards mating. So that's gonna happen tonight. So that's my night pretty much. Um, so let's hit another question. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but what editing software do you use for your videos?
Premiere Pro. I used Canva and other services for either my thumbnail or my
Mm,
stills, but I
okay.
stick to Premiere Pro. Adobe's just awesome. You know,
Understandable. It is kind of the standard in the industry. It is the go-to. I dabbled with it a little bit, and then I was like, I don't know if this is for me. So I tried other stuff, and I I keep switching from different stuff. Like I'm always testing something else out, seeing how that works, seeing if it gives me a different feel, if it helps my workflow. Um, I think it's good to be fluid, but it is there is something about having something that you know that program, so you can just go into it and use it. That's very important at times. Um, but so, how long have you been using Premiere, and like, is there anything that kind of pulled you away for a second, and you were like, you know what, let me use this for a little while, but then you're like, I'm coming back, I'm coming home.
you know, I've honestly only used Premiere Pro.
Okay.
uh, establishing day, I think it was 2016 or 17, but Premiere Pro, Premiere. I use a lot of the self white tools in Lightroom. There's a lot of
Okay.
imbalancing with video that you can do. Um, Back when I first started with my Instagram page, I started to work with a lot of the Apple editing systems. I
Hmm.
still do use it to either trim or crop or turn my images or videos. But other than setting and placing and editing my videos, it's just pure Adobe.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, you found what you liked, you stuck with it. There's nothing wrong with that. 100% agree.
And if
Um,
there's something better, throw it my way, brother. But if somebody has anything else to say,
True. Like now, you got a standard. Like if it doesn't get up to the standard, why am I using it? I know this is the
exactly.
standard I'm working with. Why would I change it? So I can understand that. I definitely understand that. So guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm about to ask my last question, and it probably won't be my last question. It probably will lead to two more questions. That's the way this happens sometimes. But I'm about to ask the last question I have listed. We probably might grab another question here or there, but we'll see where this answer takes us. But what is a dream animal you would like to have?
Very thought put into. It took me quite a while to figure this out.
Okay, I like
um,
that. I like that.
it's two. The Parenti monitor and a Burmese python, but it's a specific morph. It's a pied Burmese python.
Oh, oh, are those are they called clowns? Do they call them? No, they call them cows. Do they call them cows?
Those
Is
are
that?
retics.
Those are retics. You got the wrong stick. Okay, so I might have not have seen a pied Burmese python. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking that up. So what is it about? Like the first animal you said, I have totally forgot already. So we're gonna come back to that one. We're gonna talk about that one. But what is it about the pied Burmese that you would like to have, and what's the site about it that you wanted?
A lot of attraction between the ball python and in the community, and
Mm-hmm.
having pied, a lot of my clients are pied ball python aficionados, but
Okay.
I want to show people that Burmese pythons are better, and some people might say it's a contradiction.
You didn't even casually say. You was just like, I want to show they're better, and this is the way I'm going to go about it. I like the confidence. I love it.
They are, brother. I just feel like, a ball python, you have issues with feeding at times, and it might not be the case with every breeder or
True,
every keeper.
true. I
I've
agree.
never had an issue. We have one ball python in the house, and it's a norm.
Uh, that makes it so much easier when it's just one of them. Trust me, when there's multiple ones, you have issues. Oh Jesus.
So with Burmese pythons, to me, it was the attraction. They're very placid. They don't like to move like a retic, which I'm not against reticulated pythons, but they have more of a language that they display with their
Hmm.
movements. They tell you when
Hmm.
they're comfortable. They tell you if they need to be more secure or if they feel uncomfortable. You kind of read that off of them. With the Burmese python, it's literally just a puppy that's laying on top of you. The way I feel, in my perspective.
Okay, okay. What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Kai? Thanks for coming through. Jeremy, what's your question? Put it in the chat, Jeremy. And don't be weird. Don't be weird. Oh, so what was the first animal you said? The first dream animal you would like to have, you said.
The Tarantula.
Okay, so you're gonna have to let me know what that is because I'm not 100% sure what that is.
It is Australian, and I believe exportation is illegal at the moment. There isn't any
Okay.
exportation done from Australia from that particular species or any species that I might be aware of right now. I might be wrong, but that is a species I'd love to work with. It is a monitor or a type of semi-dry and semi-humid area, but it's very unlike the Nile in pattern. I'd say it's more square, white, and black coloration, but the patterns are very alike the Nile. You won't get that black top look. It's more like a sporadic marbled color, but it's insane. It's insane. It's a beautiful animal.
So how big do they get?
I want to say 7, 8. I might be wrong. I haven't done quite much research, and that might be the reason why I haven't got the animal.
Smart.
I won't be able to. I don't think anybody's able to.
when they're not on the list, maybe 20 years from now, research so you know how to take care of this lovely animal. Okay. Wow. So they don't get super big, maybe, but they. It sucks that we can't export them, but I understand why. There's good reasons for that sometimes. So follow those rules, people. Don't just bring animals you're not supposed to bring over from a country that you're not supposed to be bringing. Respect those rules, because they are important. Introducing a
conflicting a community.
Exactly. So respect that. But the pied Burmese you can get. So, are you in the process of acquiring one or breeding to make your own? Where are we at with that? Because I asked the question because I assume eventually you will try to get towards that dream animal. So what steps are you possibly taking to try to get towards that one that you can get? The law allows you.
There is a lot of people that I've seen recently, not quite much working on the eastern side of the country, but the northern and southern part of the country, working with super dwarfs or dwarf species of Burmese. So the goal in my eyes would be to obtain, the dwarf percentage, work that into my projects, and then once I've worked that in, attain a pied Burmese python.
Okay.
Right now, we just have too many into the payment plans. I have a couple with Bob Clark.
Yeah.
Bob Clark has me hanging from the roof right now, man.
Right now, I have no payment plans on anything because I told myself I'm trying to let the snakes pay for themselves. So I only can get a new snake if my other snakes pay for it. So it makes it very difficult to be on a payment plan when you have no snake money. So that's my goal right now. So as I produce stuff and make stuff and let go of stuff, that will allow me to be able to pay for, different examples of morph, different morphs to bring into the collection to expand it and grow it, but try to be responsible about it and not overextend myself. That's the goal. We'll see how that works. You always see something pretty, like, I can just buy this one. It's okay.
There's that time where in reality you're like, I wish I wouldn't have spent that because there's only this one. This gene is left. This is the only gene I need.
Very true. Very true. What's up, Angel? Thanks for coming through. So Jeremy's not asking his question, so he doesn't have a question. He's just being Jeremy. Still love you, Jeremy. Still love you. So that is all my questions I have. Is there anything you would like to let people know? A video coming up, or when Your Avatar series is coming back. Very excited about that. So let the people know what you got coming up. You're gonna be at some shows, or even if you have some animals available, let the people know.
Absolutely. Within the next month or so, we are looking to revamp the YouTube. It was actually supposed to be set at the beginning of January for next year. I'm not setting an excuse for my time. I've just honestly been lazy. I haven't been setting that square time, for actually recording. It
Uh
only
huh.
takes one button to press record. But I have been doing other things. I'm going to use that as an excuse. We've been doing exhibitions, a lot of displays at certain bars and pop ups and whatnot.
Okay.
I do want to say we have been working with a lot of breeders across the country. A lot of people might look bad upon me, but I really don't give a.
Hey,
I
sometimes you gotta do what's best for you. If it works for you,
exactly.
let the world deal with what they gotta deal with.
Exactly.
Um,
So we are working with those breeders. We've been working with South Bay Reptiles. I've been working with JTK Reptiles, every Green State Reptiles. They're the ones who have been bringing the influx of reptiles to me. None is being progressed or sent that I'm particularly breeding their animals. Everything is being digressed to the customer. This is the person it
okay.
came from, genetics, everything is being exposed. Everything is clear top table, the real George of the jungle.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So you're working on the YouTube. Um, when when will a new episode possibly be ready? Or when we can start thinking. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you. But
It was
just so the
initially
people
going to be
know.
it was initially going to be started January 1st. This will be
Okay.
backed up to 1 month, like I told you. So if it does come within 1 month, and be within 1 month. If not, January 1st.
Okay. So people keep your eye out. Make sure you go subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you're ready for the new content when they get do it and start producing it and putting it out. So make sure you're ready by hitting that bell. His links all in the description down below. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok's there, but he doesn't got no content on it. So just push the button on TikTok just to show you love. But definitely go check him out. Um, Trying to make sure I said everything. Yes, definitely go check them out. But before we go, we have to say thanks to our sponsor who sponsored this episode one more time. So I gotta click some buttons. I'm always clicking buttons. You think I'll be better prepared, but I'm not. All right, here we go. The sponsor for this episode.
This episode is sponsored by Herp Collectors. They're a family-run business specializing in investment quality morphs to help other breeders achieve their project dreams and beyond. They are working with a couple different morphs specifically. Their baseline is Clown, Desert Ghost, and Hypo. And they're dabbing a little bit in the Ultramale and Pieds as well. So definitely check them out for ball python needs. They are slowly coming up in the industry and they're going to be producing some amazing animals very soon. But that's not all. They also have a YouTube channel. Of course, we're all about YouTube over here. They do a live podcast on their YouTube channel every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called Clutch Conversations. It's a great podcast. I was actually on it, and Mike does an amazing job interviewing guests. He also brings guests from all over the industry and talks to them. It's a definite watch if you're free on Thursdays. And if you're not, you can still listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcast apps. Their mission is also to share the excitement of working with these reptiles, as well as bringing people together to promote and preserve our hobby. So what are you waiting for? Go follow and subscribe to their YouTube, their Instagram, their Facebook, and their TikTok. Thanks for sponsoring this episode, Herp Collectors.
Thanks again for sponsoring this episode, Mike. Greatly appreciate it. Once again, go check out all their YouTube, Instagram, and Morph Market. Links are in the description down below. And their podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all other audio versions of their podcast is on audio platforms. I am actually working on putting my podcast on those platforms as well. The audio version, at least, it's just taking a little time. And I've been a little lazy too. I'm not gonna lie. But that is definitely go check them out. But thanks again, man. Thanks for coming on. Greatly appreciate getting to talk to you, getting to learn a little
It was
more.
a pleasure.
It was definitely a pleasure on this side. There was something I wanted to say, but I just blinked. But thank you for coming on. Stay. I'm gonna end the show, but we're gonna go in the background a little bit, so don't touch anything. But guys, thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being in the comments. Thanks for all the love and support. Check out Keys Constrictors Hair Down Fridays going on right now. So if you're still waking, staying up, go watch their stream. Iron Dogs should be coming on later tonight, so go check them out as well. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday is the next video. So I'll see you guys then. But have a good night. Go tell someone you love them, because you never know what that might do for them or help them get through that day. Definitely shows love to all the people you care about. So we're not here forever. Definitely tell the people you love them that you love them. Let them know. Thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.